Kobbie Mainoo, one of Manchester United's most gifted academy products in recent years, has found himself at the centre of a transfer storm that nobody saw coming. Once viewed as the next long-term heartbeat of United's midfield, the 20-year-old is now edging closer to the exit door, and Arsenal have suddenly been told they may be the perfect home for him. It's a story that has taken fans from disbelief to excitement, from confusion to pure anticipation, because the situation around Mainoo is far more dramatic than anyone expected. After bursting onto the scene during the 2023-24 season and winning the trust of Erik ten Hag, Mainoo looked destined to become a cornerstone at Old Trafford. Calm in possession, mature beyond his years, and capable of controlling midfields with a mixture of intelligence and bravery, he stood out as one of United's brightest young stars. It felt like the beginning of a long, historic career at the club. But football moves fast, and a few months of change have completely flipped Mainoo's path. This season, Manchester United's new manager Ruben Amorim has implemented his preferred midfield duo, relying heavily on the experience of Casemiro and the influence of Bruno Fernandes. That decision pushed Mainoo drastically down the pecking order. He has played only 138 minutes in the entire campaign, a shocking fall for a player who just 1 year ago was being compared to some of England's best young midfielders. The message became clear to Mainoo: he was no longer central to the club's plans. And that realization hit hard. Sources close to the midfielder revealed that over the summer, Mainoo expressed a desire to leave Old Trafford. He didn't feel secure, he didn't feel valued, and he didn't feel he was being given the responsibility that once allowed him to grow. Even more dramatic is the fact that he has now delayed all contract talks, despite being tied to the club until 2027. For the first time, Kobbie Mainoo is seriously open to leaving on loan, and perhaps even permanently in the long term. And that is where Arsenal enter the picture. Former Arsenal midfielder Stefan Schwarz publicly stated that if Mainoo is to leave Manchester United, the Emirates is the ideal destination. He insisted that Arsenal have created one of the best environments in Europe for young players to develop. Mikel Arteta has built a culture around youth, giving responsibility to players not based on age, but on readiness and talent. It's an environment where stars are forged, where potential turns into performance, and where players are trusted to grow without fear. Schwarz pointed to Bukayo Saka as the prime example. The young winger was polished into one of the world's most influential forwards under Arteta. Then there's Ethan Nwaneri, who rose from an academy talent into a serious rotation player, scoring 9 goals and providing 2 assists in his breakout season. And recently, Max Daumann made history when Arteta brought him on in a Champions League match at just 15 years old. Arsenal have proven time and time again that youth is not just accepted, it is celebrated, nurtured, and elevated. So the thought of Kobbie Mainoo in an environment like that is electrifying many fans. His style of play fits perfectly with Arteta's approach. Calm in tight spaces, confident under pressure, capable of dictating tempo and carrying responsibility, he is exactly the type of midfielder Arteta trusts. And in London, he would not be competing with players twice his age for minutes. He would be part of a growing core of young talent, integrated into a system designed to make him flourish. Mainoo's calmness and maturity are traits Arsenal value highly. Yet at United, both qualities have gone to waste this season. Under Amorim, his responsibility has been stripped away. Under Arteta, it may be restored immediately. It's no wonder many insiders believe a January move to Arsenal could revive his career and put him back on the path to becoming one of England's future midfield leaders. Let's not forget what Gareth Southgate saw in him. The England manager trusted Mainoo enough to start him in the Euro 2024 final against Spain. That moment alone showed how highly rated he was at the top level. A player who can be trusted on a European final stage should not be warming benches in the Premier League. He should be playing, learning, and leading. As January approaches, the tension around his future is rising. United are unwilling to guarantee him minutes, Mainoo is unwilling to sign a new contract, and Arsenal are quietly watching the situation unfold. Chelsea were once linked, but the tide has shifted toward North London, where Mainoo's profile and personality match perfectly with Arteta's long-term vision. The player wants a loan, the manager refuses to give him opportunities, and Arsenal have already been urged to make their move. One decision could transform his entire career. The door is open, the timing is perfect, and Mainoo himself is ready for a new chapter. Whether it happens in January depends on Manchester United. But one thing is certain, if he leaves, Arsenal may never again get a clearer path towards signing one of England's most gifted young midfielders. Gabriel Jesus, the Brazilian forward who has electrified Arsenal fans with his pace, skill, and deadly finishing, has reportedly revealed that his time at the Emirates could be coming to an end, and the news has sent shockwaves through the Arsenal faithful. The 25-year-old striker, once hailed as a key piece of Mikel Arteta's ambitious project, appears to be contemplating a move back to his homeland, a decision that has left supporters divided between admiration, disbelief, and frustration. Rumours are swirling that Jesus' heart is drawn to Palmeiras, the club where he first made a name for himself, and sources suggest that both he and the Brazilian side have a lingering desire to reunite. Gabriel himself admitted that the pull of Palmeiras has never faded, stating that the interest will always be there from both him and the club, and even Palmeiras president Leila Pereira has publicly expressed her hope for his eventual return, emphasizing that one day he will come back home. However, the story is far from straightforward. Gabriel has been recovering from a serious ACL injury that sidelined him for months, and his comeback has been painstaking and filled with uncertainty. Arsenal have reportedly supported him throughout his rehabilitation, and Gabriel has acknowledged that leaving the club in the middle of his recovery would not make sense. He has emphasized that there have not yet been any formal discussions with Palmeiras, making it clear that his primary focus is regaining full fitness and helping Arsenal compete for trophies before considering a permanent return to Brazil. Despite these reassurances, the public fascination with his next move has intensified, fueled further by whispers that Flamengo, another Brazilian powerhouse, is preparing a loan offer for Jesus. Reports suggest that Arsenal could allow Flamengo to cover half of his wages, which would facilitate a season-long return to Brazil while leaving the door open for a potential permanent transfer. This revelation has sparked intense debate among fans, as a move to Flamengo would mean he is not returning to his boyhood club and could inflame rivalries and emotions across Brazilian football. Adding to the complexity, Arsenal have sent mixed signals. On one hand, there are claims that the club is open to letting Jesus depart in the next transfer window. On the other hand, Mikel Arteta has insisted that Gabriel remains part of his plans for the squad, while Gabriel himself has reaffirmed his commitment to the team. Yet the dynamics within the squad have changed. Arsenal have strengthened their attacking options, meaning that even once fully fit, Jesus may face stiff competition for a starting role. Fans have reacted passionately, with many expressing shock and feelings of betrayal, fearing that Gabriel could abandon the fight just as he regains his full capabilities. Others worry about the financial implications if a loan deal goes through, particularly with wages being partially covered by Arsenal, and a significant number of supporters are reluctant to see him at any Brazilian club other than Palmeiras, feeling that a move to Flamengo would be unacceptable. Despite all the uncertainty, several scenarios remain possible for Gabriel Jesus. He could go on loan to Flamengo to regain match fitness while potentially paving the way for a permanent transfer. He could eventually return to Palmeiras, closing the circle at his boyhood club and fulfilling a personal dream. He could also choose to stay at Arsenal and fight for his place, contributing to the club's ambitions in the Premier League and Europe once more. Alternatively, a long-term departure could happen in 2027, when his contract with Arsenal reaches its conclusion. Regardless of which path he chooses, Gabriel Jesus' next move will define not only his legacy at Arsenal but also his place in Brazilian football history. Fans across the globe are bracing themselves for an emotional journey, knowing that the coming months will be filled with dramatic twists and high-stakes decisions. Gabriel's story at Arsenal is at a critical crossroads, and whether he stays, goes on loan, or finally returns home, one thing is certain: the saga of the Brazilian star will be remembered for years to come, and every fan, pundit,